You are now listening to 13 Revolution Radio, a show about truth and real talk for our people. And now, here's your host, Minister Dawud Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Dawud Muhammad, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his last and greatest messenger. And as long as I live, I can never thank Allah enough personally for giving me a teacher and my teacher, the Honorable Minister with X. Brothers and sisters, I greet you once again, most humbly, with the green words, peace of Assalamu alaikum. It is my pleasure, my humble honor once again, to come on these esteemed airwaves of Blog Talk Radio, really a privilege, to share the blessing opportunity to share the life-giving message of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and to have another fantastic guest who is skilled in the explanation, the oratory, and the breakdown of the science of the teacher, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, you may ask, many who follow the show know that I deal with a lot of different issues, but they're basically centered around the same thought pattern, being science, spirituality, and strategy. And I try my best to try to reach brothers and sisters, black men and black women of all persuasions, whether you be Muslim, whether you be Afrocentric, whether you may be of the Hebrew tradition, the Christian tradition. I try to reach brothers and sisters of all persuasions to get us to thinking, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us the premise that we are a nation within the nation, and that we should fight, we should train, we should build, we should educate, we should continue to heal brothers and sisters into the knowledge of us becoming a nation eventually of our own. And I think that for some reason, that particular premise of the teaching is lost to so many. So I try to bring brothers and sisters on who have this kind of mind state, because, brothers and sisters, listen, we sit around and we bellyache about the various different social issues, but we don't really deal with the true infrastructure issues of black men and black women being able to, basically build our own city and maintain our own city. Will we run the power? Will we run the sewer system? Will we run the information systems on the latest technology, being fiber optics and wireless microwave transmissions? Will we be able to, grow our own food? Will we be able to have a high science in growing our own food and have the food be as pure as we need it to be? These are the kind of things that we need to talk about in opposed to, who's right, who's wrong, and whose God is this, whose God is that. As a follower of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, though, I have years of history, teaching and training black men, and spiritually from the rostrum, black men and women, about a construct and a message that comes from his last and greatest messenger, guaranteed to raise us up and civilize us into the knowledge of God, the knowledge of self, and the knowledge of the devil. And I am very pleased to bring on my elder, who has written a book that will be, this is probably the last show we'll talk about the book, but we will still talk about the various things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught in the future shows. It is my pleasure and honor to bring on my great brother and elder, Ahmed El-Shabazz. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Wa alaikum salam. How are you this evening?
I'm doing fine, sir. I'm doing fine. I mean, having traveled a little, I was kind of tired, but then once I started, putting my mind to the show, I got reinvigorated. And plus, I had talked to Brother Arnor and the Brother Khalil a little bit earlier, and they gave me some energy, so I'm doing pretty good. That's
how it goes. That's how it goes. Men sharpen men.
Yes, sir.
The way steel sharpens steel. That's what we were taught. And it's a great honor to be on your show. I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to not only promote my book, The Death of Satan, but to teach the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that was given to us by Master Dawud Muhammad, the great Mahdi, Allah in person, the message that he gave the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, may peace be upon him, his messenger,
the
messenger of the great Mahdi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's the message, and we will try our best and to get into that and talk about the people that stole our legacy and then want to abuse us with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Well, let's jump on into it because today we're supposed to be talking about Masonry, history, astronomy, and politics. So I will go to page 49 of your book, read something from what the messenger said, and then ask you a question from another paragraph, which happens to be on page 48, if that's okay, sir.
Yes, sir. That's
okay.
Fine.
All right, so on page 49, on the bottom of it, is a quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it says, Muslims who have reached such degrees as 32nd and 33rd are not called Masons. They are called Muslim Shriners. They are reaching up to us. When you take the 33rd degree, you are taught to greet each other, Assalamu alaikum. You are taught Islam from then on because you become a Muslim when that degree is conferred on you. At least you are supposed to be a believer in Islam. They teach you almost from the start to turn your face to the east, and the east they tell you is true Masonry, but this white man's Masonry carries you no further than Australia, America, England, and Europe. Would you like to elaborate on that, sir?
Right. Masons who have reached such degrees at 32 and 33 are not called Masons. They are called Muslim Shriners.
Right.
Yes. You see, the Caucasian is very slick in his explanation of our symbols that he borrowed. Let me put it like that. He's slick on explaining our symbols that he's borrowing.
Right.
In my book on that, you see a scimitar under that quote.
Right.
Egyptian pharaoh.
Yes, sir.
And then the devil. You see that's a crescent, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
and
yes,
a star.
Sir.
Okay. But the devils would tell you that crescent ain't a crescent. It symbolizes a Bengal tiger, Paul.
Oh. Why is that, sir?
You have to ask. See, that's that lie.
Yes, sir.
They're going to tell us we're not looking at what we're seeing.
Right.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, you have a Muslim scimitar. That's a Muslim sword.
That's right, sir.
And the connection, because we are the fathers of civilization.
Right.
And are we not?
Yes, sir, we
are. In the message to the black man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the original man chose the best part of the planet, which was the mother city of Mecca.
Right.
The rich Nile Valley of Egypt.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Etc.
Right.
So now you see the connection of Egypt, which is the center of our earth.
Yes, sir.
And even in their Bible, it says God left a sign in the midst of Giza.
Come on now. Yes, sir.
The only God-like sign I see in the midst of Giza is the Great Pyramid.
That's right.
Okay? So if you were to take all of the African symbols away from what the white man calls Freemasonry, they would not have a symbol. Okay? So you see the Egyptian pharaoh, you see the star and crescent upside down. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us in the lessons that Muhammad gave them this sign so they can to use as a passport to come among us.
Right.
So we wouldn't kill them.
That's right.
All right. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just straight up. This is what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us, and he got it from the Great Mahdi. And I always say, if you got a problem with what's being said by the Muslims who follow Islam, as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that he got from the Great Mahdi, you take it up with them.
Right. Right.
Okay. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said they're reaching up to us.
Right.
They are reaching up to God.
That's right, sir.
And see, the the white man would tell you, I had a devil give me a book here recently because they were trying to recruit me into the Masonry.
Yes, sir.
Because the devil told me, that gave me this book, that there's not many Muslims in the Masonic order in this area, but outside of this area, there are plenty. And I said, thank you for telling me that. Because I know what the Holy Quran says.
Right.
Chapter 2, verse 102. We are not, as Muslims, supposed to have anything to do with the white man's Freemasonry.
Right. That's right.
The Quran condemns it. They said that it's the devils fabricated a lie against Prophet Solomon, didn't they?
Right. Right. Yes, sir.
And they teach men enchantment. We're not into magic and astrology and witchcraft. Okay, we're supposed to be a Muslim. The messenger is telling you these men, and he was actually talking to the white man.
Right.
When they reach 33rd, which is a honorary degree for good works, okay, not all Shriners, not all Freemasons are Shriners.
Right.
But every Shriner is a Freemason.
Yes, sir.
You see how tricky that is?
Yes, sir.
Huh? That's a trick, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And then the devil will tell you that the shrine is not a part of Masonic order. Well, it has to be if you have to be a Mason to get in it.
Right.
Just because they only have one degree in the shrine, that does not mean it's not a part of Freemasonry. But they are saying they are supposed to be Muslims.
Right.
You're supposed to leave it alone. They call Muslim Shriners. In Detroit, the largest Masonic temple in the world is in Detroit. It is so big that it has its own generator plant, electricity plant.
Right.
Yeah, it can generate electricity for blocks.
Wow.
It's the largest in the world. One part is dedicated to the first 32nd degrees of Freemasonry, and then on the eastern side of the building, facing Woodward Avenue, you will see the sign Muslim.
I have to go see that.
Okay.
Go see that.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is condemning them by saying, when you reach that level, you're supposed to stop calling yourself a Freemason.
Right.
You have a duty, since you have a Quran, to teach Islam openly.
Right.
Now I want to ask you a question. You know, here I have a picture in my book of J. Edgar Hoover with his shrine fez on.
Right, you do. Yes, sir.
He hated black folks, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And he undermined the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir. Did everything he could, too, as a matter of fact.
That's right. He's a hypocrite. You call yourself a Shriner. You're supposed to be a Muslim Shriner, and yet you're going to fight the messenger of Allah, huh? You see that? I'm getting tired of black folks defending Freemasonry, especially the so-called Muslims, especially the so-called Muslims. Now, if you're not a Muslim, you do what you want to do, but I'm getting tired of these Muslims defending Freemasonry when the messenger condemned it. In the 1930s, if you look at the copy of the old Final Call, which Master Farad Muhammad stopped him from publishing that paper as the Final Call because he did not teach him when the Final Call would be.
Right, right.
But there's an old Final Call paper from the 1930s. I think it's around 1934, and it has a picture of a artist's rendering of Solomon's Temple. In that article, the messenger condemned it as devil worship, and he called it free by Masonry, basically a pay-as-you-go religion. What other religion is around that you have to pay as you go? We ain't going to get into it.
Scientology.
But it's connected to Freemasonry.
Yes, sir.
It is connected to it. Muslims, if you're a Muslim, supposed to have anything to do with that.
Right.
Read the Holy Quran, chapter 2, 101 and 102, verses 101 and 102, and try to square that up, as we say, with Islam.
Right.
Oh, don't tell me that the Freemason saga started in Egypt. Of course it did. Everything came from us.
Right.
But it's corrupted. They stole our legacy. All of this, man know thyself, that comes from Egypt. Right?
Yes, sir.
Self-knowledge. The greater good. The elevation, the greater good in man is to become like God. That came from us, the black man, the original man. Where did we set up shop? We set up shop right there, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
They call that the Fertile Crescent.
Right.
The tribe of Shabazz, according to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, were the first to remap the earth after the deportation of the moves 66 trillion years ago. We picked the best part of the planet for ourselves, and we left a sign of ourselves in it. Tell me about that pyramid. You know it's in the center of the earth if it doesn't cast a shadow at high noon. That's dead center. The tribe of Shabazz is a tribe of scientists, the whole tribe. And
yes,
this is where Master Farad Muhammad's lessons and teachings is trying to guide us back to it. He already spoke it in action, and it's going to happen. So stop fighting it. Leave the white man's religions alone and join on to your own kind. And be your godlike self.
So can I ask you this further? Because,
yes,
you know, it's amazing. I remember, because I had some friends in the Moorish Science Temple, and long before I came on Blog Talk, they had their own show. So I was listening to it, and one of my good brothers on Facebook that I met here in Albany, he doesn't live anymore, Sheikh Charles Brown L., doesn't live here. But he had a Blog Talk show, and the leader of his organization did a show one time called Why Are Moors Muslims? Moors Masons. And, you know, you have that in the Moorish Science Temple, you have that in the Nation of Islam, you have that a lot of different places. Why do you think brothers and sisters join the Masonic Lodge, you know, while they're part of the nation or after being part of, you know, coming into the knowledge of themselves? What benefit could you possibly be getting from this?
Because they don't understand that they have the supreme wisdom already.
Right.
They don't understand you're at the top. Okay, what's the first question? Who is the original man? Hold it for me, brother. And I'm gonna tell you what it's talking about. Who is the original man? Right?
The original man is a black man to make it on the cream of the planet of God of the universe.
Okay. Well, that's all of the 33rd degree. Right there. That's our first degree, you could say, first degree. And it's the whole of theirs. So why are you going to kindergarten for? You got the university studies standing before you. You want to go to kindergarten.
Yes, sir.
You see, they don't understand. They don't believe the messenger was a messenger.
Right.
See?
They
use these. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay, because we only got a little bit of time here. We only got 1 hour.
Yeah, I understand. I'm sorry. We'd be on here all night. I'm sorry.
No, well, we're going to definitely have to do like a part 3 and a part 4 because this book is too powerful for us to cover in 2 shows. So, either way, is this on page 48? And there's 2 points that I want to bring from this. Many of our black brothers and sisters will belong to the white man's so-called Freemasonry, which was never meant for the black nation. Freemasonry, as is known today, was given to the so-called white race. The true Mason is a Muslim. We, the black nation, are Muslims by nature and are the real builders of men and women on a mental and spiritual level and of buildings made of stone on a material level. Okay, I want to stop right there. Can you please break that down? Because I know there's some science with the stone part of it and the builder part of it.
Right. Well, the messenger said, what is a Mason? He's a builder. Do we not build up character amongst our people? The MGTGCC?
Yes.
FOI. You're building men and women on a physical level and a spiritual level.
Right.
See, this is Master Farad Muhammad set up a brand new education for us.
Right.
Okay? He just made it comfortable. It looks like a temple. It is. But what is a temple? That's where you get a religious instruction, right?
Right, right.
A mosque is where you pray in.
Right, right, right. And that's,
so
that's something that we used to say in our opening all the time, sir. Oh, I'm sorry,
Okay.
I said that's something that we used to say in our opening a lot back in the day. We would say a mosque is a place for worship and prayer. A temple is a place for teaching.
Right. Right. So the messenger said a true Mason. Okay. Let's look at that. A true Mason. Well, he's building. He's educating himself and trying to live a virtuous life and using education to unchain his mind.
Right, right.
Right? And to elevate himself from a mere mortal to that of a God. This is what Master Farad Muhammad told the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I did not come here to make you a servant or to give you the mind of the prophets. I came here to give you my mind, the mind of God.
That's right. That's right.
See, he's returning us back to where we began as gods and goddesses. Some people get bent out of shape about that term. I'm using English.
Right. Right.
But to elevate us back up to the God stage, basically giving us the God secret theology.
Right.
But each God has his own theology. When we're studying Egypt, we're studying the old God theology.
Right.
Secret theology.
Right.
Okay? We gave that education to the Greeks to civilize them.
Right.
The Greeks then plagiarized the Egyptian, or so-called Egyptian, because that's a Greek word too, the Kemetic educational system.
Right, right.
And called it Greek philosophy after they conquered Egypt under Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great set up Aristotle and his students. They pillaged the museums and the libraries and made that a research center. You know, the Museum of Alexandria, Egypt. Named it after itself, that devil, homosexual Greek conqueror.
Right.
So Aristotle Aristotle wrote all those books on all those disciplines. Impossible. Right. So this great plagiarism, and then from there you get the various secret societies, all the way down, like the Roman Catholic Church is a secret society. Judaism, is a religious society.
Right.
Okay? A religious fraternity. Okay? All that came from the black man's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the white man called a mystery. Yeah, it was a mystery to him. Mystery means what? Unknown.
Unknown, yes,
it was unknown to him. So he called it a mystery. And they eventually allowed some of those Caucasians to come in and study among them, and they took that information and started their own thing. But we're not supposed to be in that. What do we look like walking around with an apron on? We wasn't the ones crossing the burning sands on foot.
Right.
We were riding. As a matter of fact, they asked you that question in that order. When you were crossing the burning sands, were you walking or were you riding? Well, somebody was walking and somebody was riding. The black man wasn't walking. We were riding. We were casting out the devils. That was in the midst of the black man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in Message to the Black Man on the History of the Devil, states that we stripped the Caucasian of our clothes and made him wear an apron to hide their shame and marched them across the Arabian desert into the caves and hillsides of Europe. Now, why you wearing an apron, black man? You don't need no apron.
Right.
You would have won riding. Matter of fact, I got a quote in my book from one of the former grand potentates of the Shriners. He said that little boys play cops and robbers.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Shriners play what? Muslims and infidels.
Muslims and
well,
infidels,
who's a Muslim or a Muslim and who's an infidel? That's a reenactment of them being cast out of the Holy Land and into the caves of Europe.
Right.
Again, any Muslim in the Masonic order is out of order. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us we belong to the first order and not the last.
Right.
See, this all goes back to several things. Number one, people didn't understand the messenger's language. Maybe. Or they just didn't believe he was the Honorable Elijah, that he was a messenger of Allah.
Right.
One of the two. And besides, they wanted keys to the modern Egypt. I mean, give me a job, this, that, and the other. Give me some connections.
Yes,
blah,
sir.
blah, blah. See, that's what that's about.
This is the discussion I was having with my brother when I was down in Brooklyn, because I had gone down there for my grandmother's wake, and so we spent the night there. Matter of fact, no, it was when I was on vacation. As a matter of fact, I was on vacation and I went down to Brooklyn and I went to my brother's house. And see, when I was younger, my brother was like a high official in the Sigma Phi Rho fraternity. So me being 19 years old, I'm just coming into the nation and teaching me the knowledge of self and how great black people are. And then I'm watching all of this craziness going on, through the initiations that you have to go through to come to the fraternity. So make a long story short, he had a whole bunch of different brothers there. And, he would, do anything from asking a brother to charge him, and he'd slap the mess out of him, or, eat spaghetti out of a bowl of water with detergent in it. I mean, it was crazy. Yeah. So we were going through this whole thing, and I was saying to him, why we, and, I had one of my best friends from back in the day with me, and we were like, why did you put brothers through that? And he was like, well, if you think about it today, those brothers, this one is this kind of official in this company, and that one is leading our organization and dealing with the legal problems. So basically what he was saying is that he had to put them through that terrible treatment in order to get them mentally tough enough to deal with the world that we're living in today. I can understand that to a point, but I can't understand the physical and the verbal abuse. But that's, I think, what you have to go through when you choose the devil's way and you don't choose God's way.
That's it. That's it. And but besides, they have something on you. Each one of those people has something on the other one.
Right, right.
So they have to do each other a favor.
Right.
Did you know what it used to be? I don't know what it is now. I have a book here that was written 20-some-odd years ago, back in 1988 by Mustafa El-Amin, Freemasonry, Ancient Egypt, and the Islamic Destiny. Good book.
Oh, I remember that book, sir.
I have it sitting here. Yeah, and he said that, the Shriners, when they making mockery of Islam, which they are, when they say, kissing the black stone, they kissing another one of their brothers' backside.
Right.
So that old saying, I kissed you-know-what to get this position, is true.
Right. That's true.
Literally.
Oh, my God. Never thought of that.
And that's a mockery of Islam. Again, why are Muslims in this thing? But see, going back to the fraternity, I know a lot of friends, classmates that are in that. I gave them this book, Stolen Legacy. They're still in it. They didn't get it. They didn't understand. Professor George G.M. James' book, Stolen Legacy. Let me read what he said about these sororities and he said it was. He states this on page 160. They, meaning black students, must discontinue the practice of quoting Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle in their speeches as intellectual models, because we know their philosophy was stolen. They must relinquish membership in all Greek letter fraternities and sororities, and they must abolish all Greek letter fraternities and sororities from all colored colleges because they have been the source of promoting the promotion of an inferiority complex and of educating the black people against themselves.
Wow.
End quote.
Yes, sir.
Again, stay out of the white man's religion. The devils will tell you Freemasonry is not a religion. Well, I beg to differ, because, see, I have a copy of Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma.
Right.
Right? I got it right before me now.
I know
and
that's in your
book,
bibliography, too.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
See, I can hit the book with the phone so you can see it's real if you want me to do that. But anyway.
Yes, sir. I was saying, I saw it in your
I wish it was a phone, TV. But anyway. Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike, who was the co-founder of the Ku Klux Klan, another thing that these Masons want to deny, history shows otherwise.
Right.
Albert Pike in his book, Morals and Dogma, that was written in 1871, states that Freemasonry is not a religion, it is religion.
So that puts the end of that.
Okay? So don't come to me with that junk. I also have a book here called The Builders. These are all white boy books. They wrote them. I'm just quoting what they said.
Right.
The Builders by Joseph Fort Newton, 1930. Hard copy. You hear it?
Yeah.
He goes in on how he don't call the Bible the King James Bible. He said the Masonic Bible. But if you look at which it is.
That's right.
And he points out that George Washington took his oath of office on the Masonic Bible. George W. Bush, nearly 200 years to the day, used George Washington's Bible when he was being sworn in. George W. Bush, Herbert Walker Bush, George W.'s daddy, back in the late 80s. He used the same Bible that George Washington used, the Masonic Bible. King James Bible is the Masonic Bible.
Right.
If you look at a original 1610, 1611 cover of a King James Bible, you will see that I'm not lying to you. It's full of Masonic symbols because a Rosicrucian helped him do the translation. The man that wrote plays under the name William Shakespeare, Sir Francis Bacon, who was a Rosicrucian. And wrote the book, The New Atlantis, talking about it was a blueprint on how to turn this North American continent into what you see today, a theocratically run society. Right. See?
Right.
So and then slavery. These same people, these were Masons. America has never been a Christian country. President Adams said that in the Treaty of Tripoli in 1797. He said America ain't no Christian country. Never has been and never will be. Right. The Masonic Republic, man. I'm talking to the Muslims out there. This is a constitutional Masonic republic. It's not even a democracy. We do not have one person, one vote. As long as you have that electoral college, it is not a democracy.
Right.
So today, when you go to vote, that's just a suggestion box for slaves.
Right. What's beautiful is like you're teaching on this now, and you're going into other questions that I had in other areas. So you're like covering everything with one question.
Well, it's all connected.
Right.
Okay, there are no pictures of Jesus in the nation's capital. There's no monument to Jesus in so-called Christian America.
Right.
But if you go to the National Cathedral, you see George Washington in a godlike state, as if he's the God or the Jesus on the stained glass window.
Yes, sir.
If you go to the Capitol, Rotunda, look up, and you see him being elevated to a God. Look at the Washington Monument, an African Tekken. Why would Christian America have an Egyptian symbol of a God? The Egyptian symbol.
Right.
In Christian America. But yet these same people who stole our wisdom, knowledge, and our understanding were the same people that put us and kept us in slavery. But yet they supposed to, who are these people? I'm not going to let them get around that.
Right.
How are you going to get around that? George Washington owned slaves and was a Freemason.
Yes, he was. And yes, he did.
Albert Pike was the co-founder of the Ku Klux Klan. And his statue stands outside of the Justice Department to this day. Now, why is a Confederate war criminal statue outside of the Justice Department in the nation's capital? He was the enemy of the federal government, wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
Why is his body buried in the floor of the Masonic temple there on 16th Avenue? Why is J. Edgar Hoover's whole office in that building? No Muslim should be a part of this, I'm telling you.
Right.
I'm sorry. But don't ask me if I care, if I hurt your feelings. I'm not. Sorry about that. We have the supreme wisdom from the great Mahdi. What you need with something else? Either we have the supreme wisdom, which I know we do.
Right.
I know it. Ain't no belief in it. I've tried it for over 30 years. I know it worked.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. I'm past belief. I'm way past belief. I know.
Right.
Okay. Now, either you know it or believe it, or you don't. There's no reason for any Muslim, to be a part of this so-called Masonic order, Sufism and stuff like that.
Yeah, well,
that big old devil that went over there and measured the Kaaba snuck in as an Arab. Sir Richard Burton, he even said that Sufism was the Eastern parent of Western Freemasonry. But you have to look at the Sufis and where they come from. See, if Sufism is not Islam, they hide behind it. That's not a branch of Islam. It's not even a sect of Islam. It's a spirit. I have a book on the Sufis by Idris Shah. And in that opening, it says that Sufism is spiritual Freemasonry. Again, there's no Muslim supposed to be a part of that, I'm telling you.
Right. I
don't care how you fix it up and say it came from here and there and everywhere. Well, everything came from us. We God. We want the whole truth, not part.
Right.
And we don't want it watered down or bastardized.
Well, let's cross over to politics for a second, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's cross over to politics.
By all means. Mm-hmm.
Now, which I know is your expertise. Now, and if you just join in, brothers and sisters, this is my elder, my friend, my brother Ahmed K, El-Shabazz, author of Death of Satan, which you can get on Amazon.com, as well as CreateSpace. And, we're just going into some parts of the book. It's a very powerful book, only for $15, which is it's just amazing because once you get it, you will ask yourself, why is this only $15? So either way, politics. First off, we're closing in on the Obamacare issue. That seems to be really heating up right now. So what is your thoughts on this and how it relates to either the health or the fall of America?
Well, it's going to lead to the fall of America because the people won't be able to pay it. It's also a violation of their Constitution.
Right.
the Commerce Clause of the Constitution. See, that's another thing. Black folks and everybody else here, we are very lacking in our political understanding.
Right.
A lot of Americans, so-called Americans and so-called Black Americans, don't even know. They haven't read the Constitution. They don't even know what it is. They hadn't heard it. See, they fell asleep in civics class. I couldn't. And when I was in the 12th grade, I had a wonderful teacher. On the first day of school, I went to all-black school. On the first day of school, Mrs. Thomas asked us this question: how many Americans in the class? And you know what happened. Everybody raised their hand like a dummy. She said, if you don't put your hands down, I'm going to beat it. Not an American in here. Then she opened up the Constitution. She taught us the Constitution. That was the first time I saw where black people were 3/5 of human beings outside of reading the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's books and Malcolm X's books and whatnot, speeches. 3/5 clause. Now, that Constitution also written by Masons, but they put black folks, the very people that gave them what they had, as 3/5 human beings, subhuman. The very religion that they promote would have the God of that religion as subhuman, Jesus. Because Jesus is a black man, but under the United States Constitution, he's 3/5 of a man.
Right.
They don't teach that Constitution. So this is a violation of the Constitution. They're forcing people to buy a product. That's unconstitutional. And this, the people, when that was the citizens of this country, the voting public, who put those Congress people in there. But that's about it, because you're not a corporation, you're not a lobby group, and you can't buy your politicians. You can't pay for their campaign. See, they allowed the insurance company to write the law. The people wanted universal health care, remember?
Yep.
And that's one of the main reasons why they voted for Mr. Obama.
Right.
Even white folks, because they wanted socialized medicine. They wanted the same socialized medicine that the people in Congress and the Senate and everybody else that worked for the government has. But the insurance companies wrote the law, the bill, and it passed. Now, and that option that to force you to buy a product, that comes from Hillary Clinton, because that was in her bill when her husband was president.
Right. I remember that.
People forgot. I didn't forget about that chick.
Right.
You're going to force the people to buy. And if you don't buy insurance, they're going to penalize you. See? That is against the law on every level. Anybody's law. How you going to make me buy a product? I don't want no insurance. Take care of myself. How to eat to live. If I get sick and die, that's on me. Leave me alone. But see, they have us as a human resource. See, everybody in this country is a slave. And you too, white folks. Welcome to Black America.
Yep.
You're going to see how, didn't they Bible? The Masonic by King James, who was the head of the Knights Templars. In their Bible, don't it say, those that leadeth into captivity shall be led into captivity?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Welcome to the club, white folks. Let's see how you survive. We know how to do it. Allah has made us tough.
Right.
We've been in the New World Order for 500 years. Welcome.
Right.
It's a glorious thing. I'm of course I'm being facetious.
Yes, sir. Without a doubt.
You know, this is fascism. When the corporations take over a country, is fascism.
Right. Yes, sir.
And America's always been fascist. Look at when you turn on the TV and you're looking at the Congress, the House of Representatives. Look behind the speaker's podium, and on either side of the speaker's podium, you're going to see the symbols of the Roman fasci.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
Which is a bundle of sticks bound with a hatchet on top of it. That's the fasci. That was a symbol of fascism. It's also on the back of the old 10-cent coin. This has been a fascist country for years. This has been a fascist country for years. Roosevelt tried to stop it, but he could not. He only stopped it for a brief second, about 30 years. And when they killed Kennedy, that was it. And see, Bill Clinton let the wolves out. See, from the 1930s, during the Great Depression, the Shriner president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, he was a Shriner.
Right.
He put in the Glass-Steagall Act. He passed it. That was the key. That was the Glass-Steagall Act, was to prevent the merger of commercial and investment banks, to separate them.
Okay.
Because the same thing that happened in 2008 happened in the 30s. Okay? So he passed this law making it illegal for a investment bank and a commercial bank to be the same thing. You know, where you deposit your money and grow interest. That's a commercial bank, a regular bank.
Right, right.
When we were little children, I know I put $5 in, and I had about $8 when I withdrew it.
Right.
Try that today. You get $5 in there, they're going to charge you a penalty because you didn't put more money in there.
Right. Right. You end up owing them money if you try to take it out.
See? That's right. They charge you everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the one that put in the Glass-Steagall Act and separated the banks, busted up Wall Street, monopoly, using the people's money, gambling with it. Wall Street is just a big gambling operation.
Right, right.
It's a casino for gangsters and banksters. Okay, and so, Roosevelt was killed anyway. They say he died of a brain aneurysm. Well, that's what happens when they shoot you in the head. The reason why they shot President Roosevelt, you will have an aneurysm if you're shot in the head.
Guaranteed.
The reason why he was shot is because he was going to put forth the Civil Rights Act right before he got out of office. He's the only president that stayed in office for 12 years. He was Master Farad Muhammad said, and I got this from the elders who heard it from his mouth, John Muhammad. They told me and others that Master Farad Muhammad said that President Roosevelt was the best president that America would ever have. And that's true. Social Security, the food stamps. See, white folks getting food stamps.
Right.
Before black folks getting food stamps. Matter of fact, there was a riot in Detroit because the mayor had tried to steal the food stamp money, and the white folks went down there and tried to kill him. This was in the 30s.
Right.
And so, the food stamp program, the aid for widows and single moms, and the Social Security and unemployment compensation and all of that came from President Roosevelt. He put in socialism and mixed it with capitalism. That's why it's called a mixed economy.
Right.
Okay? With socialism, the police salary is socialism. The fire department is socialism. They collect your taxes, pay them.
Right.
That's socialism. See? Yeah. Socialism has been in America since 1914 when they put in a income tax.
So let me ask you this as a sidebar to that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of black people, not necessarily Muslims, but some Muslims, but more so conscious people not really claiming any particular organization, but just claim to be conscious. I hear a lot of black people saying, well, you know, capitalism is the death of the human being. We should have socialism. And I don't think that they really understand what socialism really is. So what side of that do you fall on?
I'm like this. See, I read one of the great political sciences that I've read. There's a black man named Kwame Nkrumah.
Right, okay.
Okay, Kwame Nkrumah was, he received his education over here with us.
Right.
Went back and was able to gain independence from the British in Ghana, Africa.
Right.
He met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And his book called Conscientism or Conscienceism, as he pronounced it, he quoted Karl Marx. He said that socialism was the intellectuals' intoxicated speculism. That's Karl Marx saying that about socialism. So why should you be all caught up on an intellectual's intoxicated speculism on how to run a government? We got to let I'm of the mind this way. If it came out of the mind of a white man, leave it alone.
Exactly.
Socialism is slavery.
Yes, sir.
These doctrines were promoted in the late 1800s in the universities of Germany and Britain and America. Totalitarianism was promoted. And after the late 1800s, the Western world went into a totalitarian mode. The rise of fascism in Italy, Nazism in Germany. Even President Roosevelt was a benevolent dictator because he made the people give up all their gold coins. You had to turn in all your gold or face $10,000 fine and several years in jail under his leadership.
Wow.
To pay off the debt.
Right.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
He used the American people as collateral.
Right.
WPA, work program. He was a dictator too. See, he was just smooth with his.
Right. See, I think that where a lot of Muslims get twisted with the whole socialism thing is they look at the lesson in which the messenger talks about social equality, where he says socialism means to advocate a society of men or groups of men for one common cause. I think that they think he's talking about setting up a government of socialism. And I think they don't realize exactly. Exactly. Like there's a difference. You know, so for me, socialism, yes, I believe is slavery, but it also encourages mediocrity because if you want to talk about so-called redistribution of wealth or, like I heard one brother say, well, you know, socialism means everybody eat. I'm not down with that because that means that when some of us do not get to pull our weight, but we all get to eat. And that's not necessarily a godly construct.
It's not. I mean, why should I be penalized? Say I have a great idea and I want to bring it to market for the benefit of all at a reasonable price for the person that wants to buy the product and for me to live.
Right.
Socialism doesn't even work on paper. Look at the Soviet Union.
Yes, sir.
Socialism didn't work on paper. Look at China today. They had to go into the ultimate conclusion of socialism and communism is a capitalist state. That's all communism is.
Right.
A capitalist state. It's not in the hands of individuals or a corporation, which the Supreme Court in America said corporations have the same rights as a person. Okay, the Supreme Court said that. This United States Supreme Court ruled on that, saying that. So, but when you have communism, that is the capitalist state is in the hands of a bureaucracy, a governmental bureaucracy, technocrats.
Right.
And they control the distribution and the wealth. It's still slavery. That's all the white man knows is slavery. That's all Yaqub taught them. What did Yaqub say? If you follow me, what? I have other people working for you.
Working for you. That's right.
Didn't he say that? Yaqub is the father of slavery.
Yes, sir.
Yaqub is the father of the devil. Yaqub is the father of slavery, Freemasonry, birth control, late-term abortions, murder, lying. Okay, let me put it like this. Who knew what was really going on? The masses of his followers didn't know what was really happening. Only the cremator, the nurse, the doctor, the elite.
Right.
Isn't that the Western society?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We can all go. We can go back and forth. We can go from politics to Freemasonry and back again. Astronomy, astrology. Astrology is Freemasonry.
Okay, you have to break that down. You got to break that down.
What is it? Astrology. The Holy Quran tells the Muslims to stay away from astrology. Right. Allah, the writer of the Quran, Allah said, "What? I put them stars up there to fool the devil." You can't tell the future by doing that. That's what they use it for, to cast spells. There's a book that was written by Manly P. Hall called The Secret Knowledge of All the Ages, I believe. It's just Wisdom of All the Ages, something like that. He has spells in that book, and it's a book on Freemasonry.
Wow.
Okay? Astronomy is the science. Astronomy is the highest science of Islam. It deals with teaching you man's relation to the universe. Right. Yes, sir. See, it's different. Right. The charting of the stars and what have you. It's a clock, how to tell time. And we find that with the Mayans and the Egyptians and everybody. Everybody had a pyramid that was civilized, and they were keeping time. Right. Yes, sir. And living in harmony with the universe, astronomy. That's the man's connection to the universe. Right. And the planets. But not to tell the future and all this, and casting spells, dark arts.
So tell me, sir, why, knowing that the messenger did, which most of us know, that the messenger said that we would study astronomy, not astrology, why do you think there are so many people who are afraid to even go into astronomy, even though it was, it was ruled okay for us, and it came from the messenger of God's mouth himself? Why?
Well,
why would people be
they're lazy, brother. That's a hard subject. That ain't no lightweight thing. Now, we have astronomy in the 34 problem book.
Right. That's true. Okay. All over it. That's true.
Right. We got astronomy. Yes, what he's talking about. Let me go find it. I have it. He's breaking down Neptune. That's good. I'm on 23 here. Neptune. Neptune is 2,793,000,000 miles from the sun. She travels around the sun at 160. She travels around the sun in 165 years.
5 years. Yes, sir.
Her diameter is 33,000 miles. What is her area in square miles? How many miles does she travel in 165 years? At the rate of 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. How far is she from the Earth? That's astronomy.
Yes, sir.
See, and I love the way he ended this one. All of these are absolute facts.
Right.
And they stand true, figure for figure, by the study of the Son of Man and not a spook, W.D. Farad.
Yes, sir.
See, he don't want us into spookism, astrology.
Right.
See, he wants us to know the science of the universe. We didn't know that the Earth traveled around all the planets travel at 1,037 1/3 miles per hour. We didn't know that. I didn't know that until I read what Master Farad Muhammad said. Then these scientists today figure, hey, you know what? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know the distance from these planets, but there's a deeper meaning behind everything he's telling us in relation to us.
That's right.
See, that's the science we need to be getting into. But see, that's a lot of work, and you know how people lazy. They want to be spoon-fed.
Yes, sir. That's right.
It's easier to do astrology. See, but see, all of it comes from astronomy. The very zodiac signs, are just that, signs of planet. 12 planets. I thought we only had 9. We got 12? We do have 12.
Yes, sir.
We got the 3 Siriuses, don't we?
Yes, sir.
And the ancient Egyptians said that was the celestial Nile. The Dogon said that's where God come from, Sirius.
Exactly. Yes,
and then the Holy Quran says he is the Lord of Sirius.
Yes, sir.
That's in the Holy Quran.
That's right.
Under the chapter of the surah, the star.
That's right. I know it.
See, the Masons, when they're talking about a blazing star, they're not talking about the sun. They're talking about Sirius. They got that science from the black man. The Dogon people were tracking Sirius for 50,000 years.
Yes, sir.
But you see how we can connect all these disciplines?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I'm getting at. I'm not jumping around.
No, you're not. It's all related. Yes, sir.
Still on politics.
Yes,
Did you know that Nancy Reagan and Ronald Reagan were making these decisions using an astrologer?
They were?
Yeah. Nancy Reagan had an astrologer, not an astronomer, an astrologer come to the White House daily to tell her, to read the cards and whatever they were doing to make their decisions. The beast, Ronald Reagan, 666, his 666. Ronald, 6, Wilson, 6, Reagan, 6.
Wow.
666. His address in California before he made them change his address to his house was 666. But I know that deals with protons, electrons, and neurons. See, the beast is a man. It ain't no spook. That's all it's telling you in the book of Revelations. It's the carbon life forms, so don't get tricked out. The beast is a person. Carbon life form, 666. He has the number of a man, 666. Carbon life form. He ain't no spook. He's just a man with a beast-like mentality and actions. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said in Fall of America that the American president is the beast who gets his power from the dragon.
That's right. That's right.
Politics, astronomy, Freemasonry, same thing.
Yes, sir.
Politics is a religion.
Right.
See, politics is a religion. That's why the messenger didn't want us involved in it.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so we're about to end pretty much. So can you just give us, I guess, the last thing in politics, because a lot of people are now talking about all of these marches that are happening and things like that, and a lot of black people are really turning sour on it. So please tell us what the messenger told us about marching, and just take us on out of here with that.
Well, the messenger was against us marching, begging a white man.
Right.
The famous quote is, "Why beg the white man to do for you when you can unite and do for yourself?"
Right.
See, he's not going to do anything. I don't care what type of color president that you got in there. You done had 6 or 7 mulatto presidents. Our condition has not changed. He's an employee. The president receives a salary. Anytime you receive a salary, you work for somebody.
Yes, sir. True story.
Okay, so don't stop all that marching. You know, Garvey gave us a blueprint. Noble Drew Ali gave us a blueprint. Master Farad Muhammad gave us the master plan. Work it. We don't have to march and do anything. All we have to do is look back over what our forefathers, our grandfathers, did for us, showed us, operated it. Not speculative, operational. Now I'm dealing with Masonry now, right? Speculation, operation. They proved that it could be done.
Right.
The messenger, the Muslims did not march begging the white man for nothing. We made demands. But then while we were demanding look, you know what the Honorable Elijah, we want what the Muslims want.
Right.
And what the Muslims believe, those are demands. But he knew the white man wasn't going to meet any of those demands.
Right.
So he had his followers work the program.
Right.
And at his passing in 1975, the Nation of Islam, black folks, without government help, built a $80 million empire.
Yes, sir. Without
marching, begging a white man for a dime.
Right.
Okay? Now, reparations, I'm all for that. But see, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke on reparations. Give us some of these states, and you provide the necessary material for us to go for ourselves for 25 years, and after 25 years, we can do it. We gone. You can wipe your hands up. We can sink or fail. Don't have nothing to do with us no more. That's justice. Give us some states. You fund us with material to build our own state, our own government, since we worked 300 and 400 years for you for nothing.
Right.
Huh? That's reparations he was talking about. But he put it in great civilized terms that made sense. And the white man still turned them down. He told the people to take it to the Congress, not the UN. Take it to the Congress.
I get it.
You don't go to the UN.
Yes, sir.
The UN didn't have us in slavery. American government had us in slavery. Not just in the South. New York. There's a graveyard in New York. Didn't they find an African graveyard in New York on Wall Street? Wasn't that the slave market? Wall Street was a slave market. Started out that way. It still is today. We're still being traded on Wall Street. That number on your Social Security card, not the one on the front, the one on the back. So that's my view is with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
Marching for no justice. And you know what? I'm going to put it, and I'll be careful. You have white people attacking black kids and killing them and whatnot. The reason why they're doing that is because black people didn't put high value on our own children.
Right.
And we don't put the same value on our children. What makes you think somebody else is?
That's true.
Now, we could stop it. We could stop it. Yeah, you know. And when they see us stopping it, they'll stop.
Right.
And we have to begin with our own people. See, when in any revolution, you deal with your internal enemy first.
Right.
See, you get rid of your internal enemy first. You know what? But you know your external.
Right.
He gonna do what he does all the time. You deal with the enemy that looks like you working for him. Deal with him. There's many ways to deal with him. Many ways to deal with him. See, Muslims, we were told not to put our hands on the hypocrites.
Right.
Let Allah deal with them.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Also in the Holy Quran, 9th chapter, 9th surah, the only surah in the Holy Quran that does not open up in the name of Allah.
In the name of Allah, that's right.
That's how upset Allah is with hypocrites. But he tells us, do not put your hands on them, but you strive hard against them with the truth. But on the flip side of that, the hypocrites are quick to attack the Muslim believers, aren't they? With violence. So they call themselves Muslim, but then they're breaking the laws of Islam by attacking people who they say are hypocrites. So who's the real hypocrite? Huh? See? We have to know and understand Islam.
Right.
Islam, as Master Farad Muhammad told us, is a divine science. It is not a religion. The Holy Quran tells us in Holy Quran 30 and 30, Islam is not a religion, but the very nature in which Allah has created man in.
Okay, we're going to have to stop there, sir, because we're going to shut off.
Yes, sir.
I thank Allah for your time.
Yes, sir. I thank you,
brother, and I love you. I'm so glad to have you on my show.
Yes, sir.
We have many more forthcoming. I just don't want it to cut off on you and like people won't hear you no more. So we will convene either this week or coming up or the next week. But
yes, sir.
I thank Allah for you coming on my show, brothers and sisters. Please tell our brothers and sisters where you can get your book real quick.
Yes, sir. You can get my book on Create Space, The Death of Satan, by Ahmed K. El-Shabazz, createspace.com, or The Death of Satan by Ahmed K. El-Shabazz on Amazon.com. And Brother Minister Dawud Muhammad, I appreciate you giving me the time to come on your show. And anytime you would like for me to come on, I'll be more than happy to. And we can talk about many things, not just the little book I wrote, but any subject you would like to do that I can handle. You know, I don't know everything, and I'm not going to even say I do. But
I'm pretty sure you can handle it, though.
You know, we have at it. You know, and give it a go. And I love speaking with my brothers and sisters anytime I can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Brothers and sisters,
you, sir.
Yes, sir. As I came before I dismiss myself with your peace, Assalamu alaikum.